severe headaches, bad sleep, maybe stomach aches and gut issues. Your body is communicating something to you, that it needs a break. What happens when this stress is constant? When our bodies have been stressed for years and a few days in bed isn't enough to calm us down? Constant stress in the body can lead to more chronic conditions, like autoimmune disorders, cancer, diabetes, heart attack, and stroke. Everything that's ever happened to us lives in our body, whether it's positive or negative, whether we remember it or not. Our body is the constant vessel that experiences everything we go through. As we live our lives, our bodies are constantly adapting for survival. You've heard so far that when things are too traumatic, our mind and body separate, and all the difficult parts can get repressed into the unconscious. While our mind might forget our negative experiences, our bodies do not. You might feel completely at ease in your mind, as if the past didn't affect you at all, but your body tells a different story. Are you stuck in the fear response? In his best-selling book, The Body Keeps the Score, psychiatrist Bessel van der Kolk goes into detail about the effects of trauma on the body, as well as a whole range of different treatments to help it heal. He explains that trauma is essentially a big shock to the system. When we're afraid, our body will activate the fear response, fight, flight, freeze, flop, or fawn, and secrete adrenaline, cortisol, and other stress hormones. To release this shock and come out of the fear response, emotions need to be processed. However, when that shock doesn't get released, which it often doesn't for humans, it stays trapped in the body and unconscious, so your nervous system gets stuck in fear mode. If you weren't given the space to process your feelings after the trauma, they don't get released from your body, and your nervous system stays in a heightened state. When you're stuck in this constant state of fear and alertness, you don't know the difference between a real threat and a perceived threat. So, like an oversensitive fire alarm, your nervous system sounds off at any slight notion of danger, releasing all the stress hormones and triggering that fear response all over again. Traumatized people might overreact to loud noises or be very sensitive to other people's moods. They might never feel relaxed, find it hard to be still, or be jumpy and hypervigilant because their nervous system is stuck in a fear state, ready for something bad to happen again. Why don't humans complete the stress cycle easily? Did you know that when prey animals like antelopes have been chased by lions and managed to escape, their entire body shakes in fear of what's just happened? In Dr. Peter Levine's book, Waking the Tiger, Healing Trauma, he noticed that wild animals don't tend to suffer from dysregulated nervous systems in the same way as humans. He realized that the antelopes shake to release all the adrenaline and stress hormones from the shock. After the shaking is over and the stress hormones have been discharged, the antelope simply hops back up, dusts itself off, and continues like nothing has happened. The stress cycle has been completed. For humans, it's not so simple. We bury our feelings if they can't be spoken about or expressed because we're so afraid they'll cause us to be rejected, especially if our parents weren't attuned to our feelings or good at regulating themselves. When we're young, we're so much more vulnerable and dependent upon others to feel safe. So if traumas occur when we're young and we don't have a nurturing caregiver who can soothe us, our nervous systems might stay in fear mode for most of our adult life. We might not even realize we're in fear mode because it's become so normal that we don't notice it. So here are some key signs that your nervous system is dysregulated. Symptoms of a dysregulated nervous system. Difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep. Headaches. Autoimmune problems. Gut and digestive issues. Impaired memory. Never feeling relaxed. Anxiety and panic attacks. Chronic fatigue. Explosive anger. Low self-worth. Difficulty self-soothing. Skin problems and inflammation. Addiction. eating disorders, feeling emotionally numb or dissociated, not being able to be still, chronic pain, catastrophizing, frequently getting ill, or hypervigilance, being jumpy or overly sensitive to loud sounds. If you experience any of these with no clear physical reasons as to why, it could be a sign that your body is more stressed than you realize. Often, physical health problems are a sign that the body is expressing what the mind cannot. Being stuck in the stress response impacts our immune system, which can stop us from being able to fight off disease. There are countless studies showing the link between high stress, trauma, and physical health problems, such as cancer, diabetes, heart attack, and stroke, autoimmune disorders, gut disorders, sleep problems, and more. Even if you don't realize you are stressed or have faced any traumas, your body might be telling you something you don't want to hear. So rather than ignoring it, try to listen to what it might be trying to say. Attachment and the nervous system. Not all stress nervous systems are caused by a single traumatic event, such as a car crash or being hit or shouted at. There can also be consequences on the nervous system from attachment styles. Safe relationships are essential to protect children, as they aren't able to regulate themselves in the early years. When parents are good enough, co-regulation can take place, where they will help children to regulate their emotional states so they are able to soothe themselves as adults. Insecure attachment relationships can lead to inadequate co-regulation of the nervous system, resulting in a dysregulated nervous system as an adult. This is especially true if the parents are a cause of the stress. When the usual response to stress, to turn to your caregiver, isn't possible, children don't find a way to regulate their own feelings without turning to external tools, such as food, dissociation, repression, avoidance, being overly emotional. Because children are still developing, inadequate regulation at this age can have significant consequences on the brain, the nervous system, and physical health.